Good morning. I'm super excited you're here. So today I'm here to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is kindergarten curriculums. I love it. I'm pretty sure every curriculum there is kindergarten-wise, or I've reviewed every curriculum. Anyway, I have quite a few different curriculums. I'm going to show you the difference between ones that are open and go all in one. I mean, secular curriculums, Christian curriculums, no curriculums, what I did instead, what you can do instead, an eclectic curriculum for kindergartners, and different problem solving for different curriculums for kindergartners. For example, you ever sit down, the problem with kindergarten is you have high hopes as a parent. You are like, now's the time, we're gonna sit at the table, we're gonna go over this stuff and it's gonna be great and we're gonna bond and learn together. And then you are remarkably disappointed when your child, like every other child, is like, yeah, I don't wanna do that. No, I don't wanna sit still for, an hour a day or 3 hours a day or whatever it is you're thinking is gonna happen. At least that's what happened to me for my kids. But let's take a look and see what we got. First, of course, we have products of the day. So one of the products I'm going to show you is I think it's great for, I want to say you could start using it at 4 years old. So this is Camelot Jr. So look what it is. I have a ton of these games. So I thought I'd show you into the book. So it starts off with minor challenges. So you recreate this, which I have recreated there, and then you choose those two parts. And together with these two parts, you have to get this guy to her, the king or the knight, to the princess, to the queen, whichever you like. So here, very simple. You add that in so he can walk across, and then you add this in so he can climb up the stairs to get to her. Now it gets really complicated. Like we were trying to do it the other day and it was very difficult. So that's one of the ones like puzzle number 47. So they're smart games. I have a ton of them, a ton of smart games, and I always have crumbs on my bed. Anyone else have crumbs on their bed? Just me? My husband hates it. Okay. So now I'm going to show you products through here as well. Lots of products today. Lots of products, lots of books, lots of things to help you for kindergarten. Basically, I have a collection because I bought so many curriculums of kindergarten. I have the best books of the best books of the best books of kindergarten curriculums, in my opinion, and in everyone else's opinion, like who has that curriculum. So I can show you into a bunch and show you a bunch of different things. Now, one of the things to remember, if your kid is not doing a kindergarten curriculum, do not worry about it because a lot of curriculums in grade 1, what they'll do is, so let me show you this. This, for example, is Math Mammoth. So I'm going to show you. So it starts in grade 1. But what most curriculums have is it starts with a math review. So then you're like, okay, so this is what he needs to be able to do before he starts this curriculum, is he needs to be able to, write numbers, do counting, do colors and shapes. So for example, it's got a little bit of drawing in here. But so write an X, so for here you would do X, 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 so that they got the same amount in each box, okay? So color the shapes that are the same as the first shape. Practice your letter or your numbers, okay? Stuff like that. Look on the number line, what's missing. So almost every curriculum does this. So if you don't jump on, say you're like, oh my gosh, I have a Becca's and he's not doing a Becca's and I'm gonna be behind. It doesn't really work like that. They have placement tests, they have, especially in grade 1, they have a lot of stuff that are like, okay, if you do this program first or do this book first, and then you'll be set. So almost every company has that. So you're not like thrown in the deep end of like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I have a bunch of different curriculums. Like I told you, I have secular curriculums, I have Christian curriculums. I have everything from HBL, from Bookshark, Sunlight to, I don't know, just I'm telling you, to BYL. Someone reminded me the other day of BYL, which is Build Your Library, which I had forgotten about. And I went and looked at it again. So I got information on that as well. So let's just start, shall we? One of the things you're going to learn is that the primary source of what is made up of kindergarten curriculums is book reading. Book reading. Just reading of books. Now, the key with book reading with kids is to reread the books. Whether it's Build Your Library, which says read each book 3 times, or whether it's 5 in a row, which here, let me show you through your first curriculum, which is 5 in a row. It's read the book. This is read the book every day for 5 days. Now, something else about curriculums is you can get a quote unquote all-in-one, but even, I'm telling you, it's kind of a scam because even all-in-ones allow for math and reading or math and language arts, but usually just math and reading, to be done, like to use your own. So if your child, because it's very common where your child will be advanced or at a good level in some topics, but then in handwriting they may be behind, in math they may not be as quick as someone else on their level, grade level or whatever, and that's okay. So you don't have to worry about it. So even all-in-ones, like if you get My Father's World, for example, but really any, like if we're take a look at this one here. This is Little Hearts for His Glory. This is ages 5 to 7. There's generally a lot of curriculums for kindergarten. A lot of them do like ages 5 to 7 is kind of the range. Now, what this allows is, so let me show you into it. So this is by the Heart of Dakota, and a lot of people love it. So these are to be done. These are must done, but these are you choose. Okay, so basically when you go to this curriculum, this is what it looks like. Kind of pretty with the pictures. The next level up doesn't have the color, and I think it misses something. I love the color. But look, this, because of the check marks, so this says you have to do something. So this is every day. So every day you do reading about history, you do a little bit in motion, you do a bit of Bible study, you do a bit of science, and it's got like an activity, and then it's got the world God made. So now this curriculum may look cheap because it may be like, oh, we just buy this book. That's not true. There's a ton of books that, because I bought this curriculum, I have like the History for Little Pilgrims. There's a lot of books that come with this curriculum. The Adventures of Reddy Fox, I don't think are appropriate for kindergarten. I think you got to wait a bit to do them. That's just my opinion based on a few kids. It's just my opinion. However, not all kids are the same, right? But that doesn't mean that, so anyway, as I'm telling you, my original point is that a lot of curriculums, your own phonics program. This is, you can do Text Connections, Essential Math, Kindergarten, page 1 through 4, or your own math program. So almost every program allows for your own phonics program and your own math program. The exception being ABCA does not allow for that. And ABCA is I love ABCA. I completely dislike the kindergarten program. Let me show you in the kindergarten program. So this is just a small snippet of this. So this first book's okay. The problem I have with ABCA is A, it's really expensive. It's like $800 for one kid. And B, it's just a little confusing. So this is one of the simpler books, which I like. They give you these cards, which I think are good. So that A for acorn is on the cards, for example, just so that you as a parent understand the sounds. So then you flip, after you know those sounds, you can go and do these words. So I think it's a very simple concept. I think a cheaper version of this, I'm going to show you in a minute, but let's look at this. So you go through tu, ti, tu, mu, mo, mi, ma. So this book I don't mind. This is one of the ABCAs. They have a K4 and a K5. I bought the K5. I don't mind it. It's when we get to, so that's just all your sounds. It's when we get to these books. These books are pretty, and they're so paper thin. They are thinner than actual printing paper. And it's just a little confusing to me. Again, I love ABCA. I use ABCA in kindergarten, but I use the grade 1 science in kindergarten because I think it's easy enough to. And I'm going to show you what I mean by you don't necessarily have to do a kindergarten version in order to start a grade 1 version of the program. In fact, with ABCA, I kind of recommend you don't, just because it's a little confusing. But if you're okay with it, hey, you go for it. And it has video lessons too that will help you. But like, so see, to me, it's okay, cat, man, hat, tub, Jan, wet, and sight word the. So it's a little, I don't know, and then you're learning again, more words. And then like, what do you end up with? The pig sat in mud. Okay. So I just don't care for these learn to read books. Okay. I don't like them. There's a lot of different books out there. I use a different system, especially if your kid has issues. Like if you have, like my son, autism, dyspraxia, we use ABCA. We just didn't use this program to read. We just used a different program to teach to read. And I just used different elements from ABCA. But that's just me. That is what I chose to do for that child. Now, another thing you can do for kindergarten is you can take books like this. You can take, okay, you know what? We're going to take a number of puzzle books. See, kindergarten, a letter writing book, letter writing. You can even get books at the dollar store and then take elements from all these programs that I'm going to show you and just do, okay, we're going to learn how to write letters. What's your first name? What's your last name? All right, let's practice the A's. And this was $4.50, this book. Let's practice the B's. Bill bounces the ball. Let's practice the C's. Now, understand that your child may not be ready to sit down and write. A lot of parents, I see it online when they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad because I see all these other kids that are reading and writing and they are how old and my child isn't. Yeah, not every kid's like that. A lot of kids, especially who are homeschooled because they have issues. But also remember, the kids in school have issues too. It's not like a one and done thing. It's not like, oh, if your kid was in school by now, they'd be doing that. Not really. That's not necessarily true. So, and remember, in schools, everyone has to be at the same level. They teach to the middle. Everyone has to be at the same level so you can progress to the next level, right? That's kind of how it goes. Whereas here, you're the teacher, but you have a curriculum that is made by teachers. So you're still doing a curriculum that is made by teachers. So even though a substitute can come into a classroom for 6 months, I know because my best friend's a substitute, you can come into a classroom for 6 months or a semester or whatever it is, and you can either A, create your own curriculum, or B, use a curriculum that is already there, that someone's already done, and teach from that curriculum. That's essentially what you're doing. You are learning along with your child, and there are teachers that come with each curriculum. So if you have a problem, you can call up and be like, hey, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And they'll be like, okay, you know what? Like for Math Mammoth, they're like, okay, here's a video on this topic. For some programs, they're like, here's a video. For another program, they're like, here, put me on FaceTime. I will talk and I will walk you through it. For Math with Confidence, that's what they do. Math with Confidence is a brilliant kindergarten program. I use Math with Confidence, and then I switched to Math Mammoth just because of my time. My time is limited now. It's starting to get unlimited, and it should very soon. But that's just what I did. I did Math with Confidence. It's brilliant. It is like 15 minutes. It teaches number sense. You are like playing with your kid for 10 minutes. You are doing activities with your kids for like 10, 15 minutes. And it is just it's just wholesome. It's simple. It's great. It's like Right Start Math, but like a quarter of the price. It's the same price as Math Mammoth. So if you're choosing between the two, hey, do that for kindergarten. And then I switched over to Math Mammoth. That's what I did. Or you can continue with Math with Confidence. Again, certain things, Math Mammoth is mastery. The best countries in the world who have the people who are like #1 in math, they use math mastery math. But like everyone else grew up on spiral math. There's no wrong math. They're still great. You're still learning. And it's not like if you get to a certain level, you're like, oh, shoot, I should have taught him. No, it doesn't work like that. You can just go back a year and be like, okay, well, let's make sure. So this is spirals just taught a bit differently. Let's make sure we understand all the elements from the year before you head into such as such, before you head into high school, because maybe you want to go to high school, before you head into college, whatever. There's no like, oh my gosh, if I don't make this decision right now, I'm screwed. There's also, if your kid doesn't like it, you can, there's different types. So say you start spiral, like the good and the beautiful is spiral. Say you start spiral, and because I was not good at math, I grew up on spiral, and I find it completely overwhelming. I do not find it overwhelming for Math Mammoth mastery. I do not find it overwhelming. I find it exciting to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to do this math. I find it interesting to do it. I don't find it overwhelming at all, whereas spiral, I do. So if your child's that way, or if you're that way, there's other curriculums out there. Now, spiral and mastery is covered in Math with Confidence. She has dual degrees from Harvard, one in education, I believe, and one in a PhD in mathematics. I think if I'm correct. Okay, so let's get into, remember I showed you a Becca, and I said, okay, well, let's start with, that there's an alternative to a Becca. This is the Preschool Literacy. Okay, so another program, an alternative like I was talking about, this is Preschool Literacy. So this is Get Ready for Reading. This is by JDA. This is $10. It's $10. Take a look at it. This is how she taught her 5 kids to read. So this is circle A and A. So you're doing letter identification and then draw the letters to match. So we're doing letter identification, and then we are moving on past this. We move on to sounds. Circle the matching letters, the beginning letter sound. Okay. So another alternative is, so for example, one of the things I did was, with one child, you can do all about reading. You don't have to start that in kindergarten. That could start grade 1, grade 2. It doesn't matter, because it just goes levels. I bought both the pre-reading for all about reading. I think it's kind of a waste of your money. I think you're better off with a book like this and then just start all about reading. But that's just my opinion. That's what I found. Other people may disagree with that. Another thing you can do is you can have them do reading eggs. Some kids love reading eggs and love to do it. I wouldn't say that my kids love to do it, but it's better than other reading apps. There's also Teach My Monster to Read, which is $5. It's a pretty good app too. And what I liked about reading eggs though is that it won't let you progress until some games you can kind of trick into, okay, eventually it's going to move on. Not reading eggs. It's like, okay, do you know this sound before you move on? So I kind of like it for that. I tried out ABC Mouse for a long time. I don't like ABC Mouse just because I don't think it's intuitive enough to have like you on multiple levels. Like say, cause my one son's really advanced at math, but not for reading. And so it's like, okay, so he's doing this basic stuff. I just don't think, so if you're on the preschool level and it's not intuitive enough to be like, okay, well here, use this, or here, okay, for this, you're going to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like all on one level. That's what I found when we did it. I don't know if it's changed since then. I don't think so. But another thing you can do is, hey, have your kids do, all right, they got to do a bit of Khan Academy every day. I used to have them do a bit of Khan Academy just in case I missed something. Just in case, to reinforce some concepts, whatever. There's nothing wrong with doing 10 minutes of Khan Academy. It's free. It's an app. Khan Academy Kids. So it depends on you and what you're doing. If you want to do Eclectic, if you don't want them on the iPad, it completely depends. And there's a lot of different solutions and options out there. Okay, so once you're done the preschool literacy, you can move on to, it's called Elemental Phonics Level 1. I did an entire entire video on Elemental Phonics. But basically, Elemental Phonics, look at it. Don't you love the colors? So this is what I love is I told you it does the same thing as ABCA. Ka, ka, ki, ko, ka, whatever. And then you move up. All right, now my only problem is, and I say it every time, is that look, when you get to book 2, it doesn't have the colors anymore. This isn't what I used to teach my child to read. I found something even simpler, if you can believe it. But now we can go back and still go, okay, drab, drag, drip, drop, or whatever through this. So it's not like, and again, $10 a book. Ron grabs the pen. Tom grins at Pat. Jim grips the bat. So, and once it's completed, you get to check it off. So it's very simple, such low prep. I mean, I just think Elemental Phonics, I think it's great. Let's look in level 3. So it's even more complicated, but again, they're reading exercises. So I might even switch from what I'm doing and add in these. Like what I did sometimes too, is I tried, because we're on a specific reading program, but I had, we did all about reading for a bit, but I just switched off it because I just found more progress and I wanted something faster reading wise. And so I used this other program, but I waited till my child was 7 before I started it. I took the All About Reading books and I was like, okay, well, let's sit down and let's read through their books. It didn't work as planned. Oh, there was another product before I forget. I wanted to show you product of the day. It's not kindergartens. I don't think will be interested in it, but it's a product of the day. I got it just at Walmart. It is the Usborne Extreme Planet. It's funny because, so look at this. So if you have a kid who loves octonauts or whatever, so this, how deep is the deep? The sunlit zone, the twilight zone, the midnight zone, the abyss, and the Hadal zone, which is where the Challenger Deep and the Mariana Trench is. Okay, but what's interesting is it just talks about all the different levels and what is in there. I'm telling you, it's a great book. It is a great book just to explain what is down there. Who goes down there? Who's gone down there? What is in the Twilight Zone? Did you know, like the Twilight Zone, this is when it gets at nighttime, this is the #1 place. It has the largest movement of animal life on the planet after it gets dark in the Twilight Zone. So you learn a lot of really great facts from this. So this is Usborne Extreme Planet, the Deep with Flaps. If you have a child that loves like the Mariana Trench and, the sea and things like that. So I just want to show you that book there. All right, back to what we're talking about. So another thing you can do for handwriting is, besides getting a handwriting program, you can get handwriting without tears. You can get, this is just a composition book. So you start off and you put their name down and then they can trace their name or they can write their name. You can even do tracing their name if you just do like light gray on a printer and print it off. But so you can put sentences down. God loves me just as I am. Or just words, love, God, whatever, just to get them to practice handwriting, or letter A. So once they understand the basic composition, understand like basic handwriting, I just think having books like this is kind of cool. When your child gets really old, what I want to do is I want to have a commonplace book. A commonplace book, especially if you're unschooling, would be super cool because it's like write down like one thing you learned that day. That's what a commonplace book is for, is to help you, because when you're reading, if you read it, write it, say it, you'll remember it. Your chances of remembering it are so high. So to write down what you learned that day, just one thing you've learned that day. It doesn't matter what it is, where it comes from. That's just one thing I want to do when they get older. Let's go to, okay. So this is some kindergarten programs. A kindergarten program recommends an animal poem for each day of the year. I have an alternative to this, an alternative I like better. So this is like a January 2nd, the cub. I always forget to start this, but I mean, you can start at any time. The sheepdog. So they're poems about animals. Now, one of the books I like that I have showed on here is an alternative, and it's BYL recommends it for, I believe, kindergarten. It is the National Geographic Animal Poems. You can get it at the library. It is great because it comes with real photos. Any chance I want to see real photos of something as opposed to drawn pictures. That's just me personally. So one curriculum, speaking of drawing pictures, that I don't really care for kindergarten, only because I think it's a little intense, a little overwhelming. It's very animal focused. Is now all kindergarten programs have a focus, but the gentle and classical, I find just the kindergarten programs just a little much. Just because of all the animal stuff and all the pictures, it's just a little much. That's just I'm probably a rarity in that, but that's just me. So let's talk about some other curriculums. So one of the things is, if you don't want to do, remember I said that all different curriculums have some great books that they focus on, and some of the curriculums like BYL, Build Your Library, doesn't really have any student notes for you. So it's just you reread the book 3 times, and then it's got different activities. Very interesting, still nice. Really good books. Torchlight also is the same price point, $29. But now Torchlight, as well as Build Your Own Library, it's kind of the thing where you have to choose your own math. You have to choose your own language arts program. They recommend some, but you do have to choose that outside of that. But those are literacy-based programs. A lot of kindergarten curriculums are literacy-based. Like even look at HBL. HBL also literacy-based, but they chose Berenstein Bears, Old Hat, New Hat, which, FYI, great book. Old Hat, New Hat is great. It's just very simple, but very interesting. Cat in the Hat. We got Put Me in the Zoo. We got A Fly Went By. And we got One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. All very interesting books that my kindergartner loved. Over that age, they were not liked. I'll tell you right now. Right now, over that age, we weren't having it. But during that time, very good books. So one of the books that Torchlight uses. Now, Torchlight, it does have student pages, which I like. I do. I like it. Even if we don't utilize it, I think a curriculum without some type of just fun worksheet that you can draw on or look at. I think Build Your Own Library could have done, because Build Your Own Library and Torchlight, both secular, both doing an around the world concept. I think Torchlight might edge out Build Your Own Library in one way, and that's that they have some bright, colorful, kind of a student notebook you can do. Both you print them off. Whereas, so for example, Build Your Own Library, you're going to make passport cards, but like you make them yourself. I think if they had them printable that you could just cut them off, I think that would be cool, and then you could draw on them instead of just making them. But again, it's just me. It's just personal preference. I'm not that crafty. Whatever. But let me show you some books. So Me on the Map. This is recommended by Moving Beyond the Page 5 to 7. Moving Beyond the Page 5 to 7, I would wait and go 6 to 8. The reason I would do that is 5 to 7, it just wasn't utilized. It wasn't utilized as much. So Me on the Map, and they recommend you read this 3 times. Build Your Own Library does. But any book, because remember, I started showing you into volume 1 of 5 in a row. Any book this is where you read the book once every day, because every time you read it, you learn something different. And this is where it comes with, say, 10 different activities. This is a very affordable curriculum. This book's like $48. That's the only book you need. And then the other books all come from the library because they're older books. And they're very interesting, very good reads. So then there's like 15 different activities in here, and you choose which activities you're going to do that week based on the age of your child. So they cover all different things: math, language arts, science, stuff like that. So back to Me on the Map. This is a great book you can get. It explains how to do a map. Then you can draw a map of your house, your street, whatever you want. You can make up a town and draw a map. That is also fun. Any books by Gail Gibbons are going to be pretty good for that age, because you learn a lot, and a bit above. You learn a lot. They got pictures for it. I don't want books. I found books with a lot of text and not a lot of pictures are not that great. That's kind of my problem with the books chosen for Little Hearts for His Glory, is they're low on the pictures and high on the words. And I just don't think kids of that. And I don't want to, like, the history for Little Pilgrims, I'd rather not quote unquote waste it. I'd rather have I did it when they were a bit older, just so that they would intake that information and utilize that information. So let me show you back to ABCA. I know I'm jumping around, but let's go to ABCA. So this is the grade 1. So just so you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't get the kindergarten. This is the grade 1. And I do a very eclectic. So this is so it talks about the pilgrims. You don't need a student manual for this. You could start this in kindergarten. It's not that intense. It's just about America, about the flag and things like that. It's got history in there. It's got Star Spangled Banner. It's got interesting things about America and a little bit about the world. Okay, this is Discovering God's World. It's one of my favorite sciences. The science curriculum I'm really going to get into. I'm waiting until they're just about grade 2 or 3. I'm going to start it because I just don't want them to miss it. Right now, it's more important to me that they learn just basic concepts, so here you're going to cover about yourself and toys, which is like forces and machines and things like that. And then you're going to discover animals, insects, plants, seasons, stuff like that. So it's very simple. It can be done in kindergarten. I did it in kindergarten with one of them. Very simple. You just sit down and read it. It's not that stressful. So again, okay, so I've showed you in these two. I've showed you in these. That's from HBL. I'm trying to think if there's any curriculum I haven't mentioned. Let me just show you some. Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll, The Runaway Bunny, Harry the Dirty Dog, this is cool, Shapesville. One of the things I like, this is from Moving Beyond the Page. One of the things I like about Moving Beyond the Page, one of the only things I like from their first curriculum, from the 5 to 7, is the patterns, which is teaching your child an AA, ABC, or an AB, or an, is it AA? A bunch of different pattern ways, like ABC, AABB, AB, different patterns in that curriculum, which you can just teach anyway, but you don't need to know it at that age, but it's just very interesting. And this book came with it. It's a shapes book, Shapesville. Moving Beyond the Page, one of the things is you can't always get all their books. And now my problem with Torchlight, so I have a problem with every single curriculum known to man. I do have a problem with every single curriculum known to man. And one of that being, for example, for Torchlight, is that some of the books, I wouldn't teach them. I waited until grade 1. Some of the reading books. Some of the books are great. Like, let me show you if I got one here. Oh, I don't think I have it here. It was Mercy Watson. The Mercy Watson books are great. I mean, I've showed you in a bunch of different videos, some of them, but some of them, I just, again, too much text. It's not a winner for kindergarten. Like, they're only going to sit for so much, and I'd rather it done when they're eating, they can sit and we can read and stuff, but it's just, there's just not, if it doesn't have enough pictures at that age, it's not a huge hit. And the number one thing for me at that age, and at any age though, is bonding with my child 20 minutes a day, especially if you have a child that misbehaves, 20 minutes a day doing something they want to do. But also remember, you're building a relationship for life. So you don't have to spend more time than that with them. Once you teach them to parallel play with them, they can learn, if they don't have any other siblings, to play by themselves. But also when they come to you and they're like, okay, I want to play, to say, you know, if you've already done the 20 minutes of playing up whatever they want, if that's in the back of your mind, you can be like, well, I'd like to do something. How about we read a book together? How about we play a game together? And have some choices that both of you can be okay with, because you're creating a lifelong relationship, and that involves honesty as well. So it's not you getting resentful because you're sitting there and you'd rather be doing other stuff. Okay, but to me, the most important thing is my relationship with my child and finding things that they are interested in. That they are interested in. Are they interested in geology? Are they interested in just getting some books on those topics? Because again, it's not like, oh my gosh, if you don't do the kindergarten year, boy, are you screwed. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, your kid's not going to go to college. No, that's not true. So let me show you just a couple other books here, which is Lift the Flap, Questions and Answers About Your Body. Where does it go when I swallow? How? Now again, this might be a little bit older, maybe grade 1, grade 2. What are injections for? What's inside my body? What do muscles do? So that's an Usborne Lift the Flap, Question and Answers About Your Body with over 60 flaps, because I know Usborne has 700,000 books. So Usborne are some of my favorites. This is a great art one. I have a lot of great art books to do with them, and it's very simple. It's very, look, this shows you a picture. So this is the Come Look With Me series. I don't think you can buy them used. I think you can only buy them used, but I don't know. Come Look With Me, and it's just got famous photos, and it asks questions. Do you think the children are having a good time? What do you think? Like, what makes you think so? So just discussion and stuff like that, which, oh my gosh, which reminds me, I have one of the best books I wanted to show you today that I had, oh my gosh, where is it? It's not one of the best books, but it's a new book that came that I wanted to show you. Hold on, gotta find it. All right, check this out. This is your last product of the day. Mother and Son Journal. So this is by Britt A. Anderson. Mother and Son Journal. So I sectioned off some sides. Now it's not, I wouldn't say kindergarten age, but look at this. Which one would you rather? So it's got son here, mom here. Which one would you rather? Have a magic carpet or a personal robot? And then you can read each other's answers. So this or that. Would you rather pasta or pizza? Cake or pie? So it also has in here, it has, I want to show you drawing too, doodle time. So let's see what mom's airplane looks like versus son's airplane. So kind of cool, kind of just like a bonding activity you can do. Now this seemed a little overwhelming in the beginning, like fill these out and have fun, like son's favorite things and mom's favorite things. Whereas now they're the same, it's just it started on the page before, as you can see. So mom's favorite things, what's your favorite donut, favorite fruit, favorite cereal. This is just intensive to me, so I might be like, I don't know, I might skip that or do it when I'm older. I have no idea when they're older. But like I said, it gets on to where it's not as overwhelming. It's just a couple questions. So I just think it's cool. Mother and Son Journal. They have a father and daughter journal too. I believe they have a mother and daughter journal. What I didn't see was, I don't think I saw a father and son journal on there, but I'm sure maybe I just didn't look hard enough. But I mean, maybe I just didn't look hard enough. But anyway, Mother and Son Journal, I thought it was $10 and I bought it, and I just think it looks cool. I think it looks cool. Oh, you know what? One more thing I wanted to show you. So I want to show you inside. This is Building on the Rock. This is a Christian curriculum. Most of it is, now what I do is I go through all the books, like Moving Beyond the Page or whatever, and I put paper clips on stuff we want to do. Alternatively, they're perforated. You can tear them out. And what I used to do was I used to take all the, when they were younger, preschool age, I used to, and just starting kindergarten, I would take out all the pages I wanted to cover of whatever book and put them, because you know they have workbooks on Amazon and stuff, and I would put them into a bin, and then we would just go through, and I'd be like, okay, let's start with this one, and then just put them into a pocket to save them, kind of like their portfolio. But so God made people to grow in families. Now the bulk of this is done, as people have told me, and it's very true, is done in the teacher's manual. It's just A, I didn't want to pay for the teacher's manual, and B, it was a lot of reading, and at this particular time, the way I'm looking at God, the priority I wanted to make it is a very big priority, but in a different way than just utilizing the whole curriculum. So I just chose, I just wanted things that reinforce God at this particular age. That's what I was looking for. That's what I'm doing. So I didn't buy the manual. So because of that, there's some pages I can't use, but again, I'm okay with that. So God wants us to have peace with him, with ourselves and with others and with the earth. Cut out the puzzle pieces and make a puzzle. God gave us and all creatures life. Circle the pictures that show things that are alive. So very simple, but again, I just want to reinforce God. That's what I want. I didn't want anything super particular, super in-depth at this age. So this is building on the rock. This is truth. Anyway, sometimes for younger years, I bought the teacher's manuals and sometimes I didn't. Personal preference, personal preference. Okay, there you go. There's some books for you. There's some stuff. I hope that helps you. If you are ever feeling overwhelmed, let me just tell you one last thing. If you are ever feeling overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, where do I start? Where do I begin? Focus on reading, writing, math, and get some books to read. That's it. That's it. You're in kindergarten. Reading, writing, math, get some books to read. And beyond that, I think everything will fall into place. I really do. I don't think it has to be complicated. Don't expect homeschool to be as long as regular school. It is not. In the time that because I had a child who went to a private Catholic school, and in the time that I would do homework with him, you can homeschool a child in that time that you would just do homework. It's quite incredible. So just keep that in mind. Don't expect it to be that long. It can be as long as you want it to be long. It can be, there's a lot of different ways to utilize and learn a lot of different information. It is up to you. But remember, you start something, don't do what I did, which is buy I would find a curriculum and I would buy so many years of it. Or if it was on sale, I would buy years of it. Before you do that, if you find a curriculum and it's on sale because they have a new version, find out what's in the new version. Is it just a couple spelling mistakes that were corrected, or did they add or did they completely redo the whole system? So, and you can also try, certain systems that are free to see, like the Good and the Beautiful is free to download and print off. If you have an Epson printer, if you have the Epson printer, I have the EcoTank 2800, and it was $200, and ink is only $40 to replace all of them because they're $10 each bottle. And I can print 7,800 pages of color in that. Now it takes, I want to say they do 10 pages a minute, but that doesn't matter to me. That cost savings is huge. So you can get those free curriculums, download them. You can try out the samples too and see. If you just want to do a DIY curriculum, just look up, if you go to the Waldock way, and I've put it in comments before, you can find the skills list. Like, what is your kid supposed to learn before they hit grade 1? What are they supposed to learn in kindergarten? Every state has it, and you could just look at those and be like, okay, we're going to discuss this. We're going to track down this if you wanted to. So anyway, I hope that helps. I hope you tune into my videos, and I hope you share this with a friend. Bye-bye, and have a great day. Can you say, please like and subscribe?
Please like to like.
And hit the bell for notifications.
Hit the bell for notifications.